Hello, I think we are live. We're live. I think we are live. See if anyone is going to join. Anyone want to join? Just give a few moments for people to arrive. See if I can. I think some people are in. So hello everybody. Anyone that's watching. This is my third Tarot Tuesday Takeover. Unfortunately, some of you may know from the group that Jen, along with Peter, are not well at the moment, so she's busy recuperating. So I'm hopping on again to do something for Tarot Tuesday, and the subject that I've chosen is those darn court cards. Recently, I felt that I was getting a little bit rusty with some of the court cards in particular. Hello, Fatima. Good to see you. So I hope everybody else is well. There seems to be a lot of sickness going around at the moment. Hi there, Trisha. Welcome. Good to see you too. I've got a little bit of sinus trouble, a bit of bunged up sinuses, so but apart from that, I'm fine. So not doing as badly as some. So yes, so these court cards, the court cards of tarot, are often problematic. Um, that it's hard to know um, how to interpret them sometimes. People seem to have trouble sometimes, you know, or do they relate to people? Do they relate to situations or other things? How do you relate them with the other cards? And um, the answer to how do you interpret them? Are they people? Well, yes, the figures in the court cards are people first and foremost. The personalities, the people. Um, Now, so they first and foremost do tend to represent a person or a personality if you're doing a tarot spread, taking it always in the context of the other cards that are describing a situation. The court cards are representing the personalities, um, or the people that are involved in that situation, and how they are interacting in that situation, how they're responding to the situation, how they're behaving within that particular situation as in the context of the reading itself. The next question that's often asked is, well, if it's for a person, is do they relate to um, do they relate to you, or the person? If you're reading for yourself, do they relate to the person that's come for the reading, um, or do they um, relate to the other people um, surrounding either yourself or the person that's asking for the reading? And the bottom line answer to that is yes, all of the above. It could be about you or the person that's coming to the reading. It could refer to those. Uh, it could also refer to people in that person's life. So, and more than one court card can actually can also both apply to the person asking for the reading and also to one individual. Just because there's more than one um, court card in a reading, they could potentially relate to the same person, just different aspects of that person that are coming to play within the reading. Or they could also um, relate to different separate individuals. So the question is, how do you know which applies? Well, there's no easy answer. This is one of the This is why they're sometimes a little bit harder to interpret. Um, you use the context of the wider situation of the wider reading that you've got before you with the other cards. Perhaps the context of what you're doing may indicate um, whether it's how many people are involved, whether it's all aspects of yourself and how you're dealing with the situation, or how the people are involved. The context of the reading may give you some insight to that. You may intuitively know. Intuition can play a part. Discussing with the person, if it's not you doing a reading for yourself, um, just asking, uh, you know, the interaction with you and the person who's come for the reading um, may give some insight. They may recognize part of themselves or part of somebody else in that situation, and that's how you will know what refers to what. So um, you're not taking the cards in isolation. You're taking the cards within the situation in which you're doing the reading about, and either uh, asking yourself questions if you're reading for yourself, or if you're reading for somebody else, you ask them, you interact and have a bit of feedback that may give you a clue as to exactly how you're applying these particular court cards in the reading. So first of all, I think that's what we need to understand, is that when we're interpreting the court cards, it's usually within a reading with other tarot cards, and it's how they interact and relate to the other cards in that reading, as to how you will get the most from interpreting the meanings of and using the court cards. So with that said, we'll take a look at the court cards and what they are and what they represent. And just before we do that, I'll say that as well as people, they can also represent different degrees of development or stages of something, a progression of growth, or different aspects of how our situation evolves as well. The evolvement and growth and of a certain energy. So that can be around a person, or embodied in a person or a personality, or can just be the energy of the situation. So that's an aspect of it too, which we'll see as we discuss the court cards. So in a tarot deck, the court cards are part of the minor arcana. So we have the 22 majors, and then we have the 56 minor arcana, the 4 suits, and then we have the 1 to 10 of the cards, and then we have 4 court cards on to that, so 14 cards, 4 suits of 14 cards. So, and the 4 court cards that come after the initial 10 are what we know as the page, the knight, the queen, and the king of that particular suit, whether it be cups, wands, swords, or pentacles. So each suit has 4 court cards, and with those rankings, and I'll call them the rankings of the court cards for a reason, as we will go through, because to me they have a different, they express the energy of that suit in a different way, and it's that evolvement of how the energy is expressed, how it's personalized, is to how the progression of the cards build up. So we have, first of all, we have the pages, which are the sort of beginnings of that. Is in some decks, these are called, like in the Druidcraft, which I use, the pages are called princesses. So, and then the next one, the knights, they're called princes. So sometimes that's altered. And some say that maybe the pages were often, particularly in the Rider-Waite Smith deck, the original, which is what I'm using here, they were they tended to be portrayed in the male form, and maybe there's this feeling that maybe there's some decks use princess because that would mean that the only female in the court cards was the queen. So what they have done in some decks is do the prince, the princess and the prince to balance. So there's like 2 females and two males to balance it out. I don't know how true that is, but that's one theory with why to try and bring a bit of balance to the deck. But I feel that looking at it that way can be a bit misleading, because to me the different court cards can represent both male and female. I mean, you can be a man, be represented by the one of the queen cards, because that's the energy that that man um, is coming from in dealing with the situation. He's using that approach of a particular queen um, to deal with that situation. Even though they may be identify as a male person, they can be referred to with a queen card, because that's the energy with which they're dealing, the personality, the energy they're bringing to the situation. So to me, um, each of the cards can apply equally to men, women, and anyone that doesn't identify with any particular gender neutral, for instance. So getting too hung up upon gender can be also can add a bit of the confusion. But we may be talking about masculine and feminine energies, but they can be, that's just the way of looking at it, and it's just a way of understanding the energy, and those those masculine and feminine energies can be be exhibited by a man or woman. So okay, now we have the pages here, and we have the different suits with their elements. You've got the Page of Cups, which is the water element, Page of Wands, which is the fire element. You've got the Page of Pentacles, which is the earth element, and the Page of Swords, which is the air element. So, and the different rankings as well in the court cards tend to have their own elemental association as well. So as well as the association of the suit, say like cups is water, the pages tend to be associated, according to the associations I follow. There is a bit of variety in them depending on what element you associate to what. I think it's mainly the where you put the air and the fire element, but the associations that I follow is that the pages are all the pages belong to the earth element, because they're the ones that are like at the ground level. They're the ones that want to experience things tangibly with their senses. So they're very much of the earth element. The knights are active. They're all about action, impulse, motivation, passion. So they're like the fiery element. They're fire. So all the knights together are fire. And the queens are of the water element, more of the emotional, the nurturing sort of energy. And the kings then are of the air element. Okay, the mind, the intellect, being in charge, mastery, all of that kind of thing. So with the pages, if for instance you have the Page of Wands, now this is of the fire element, but it's the earth of fire. And I think that's how you say it, the earth of fire. It's those two elements together. And the page is, to me, the pages, if you look at the 4 pages, they're each holding the symbol of their particular element. And I often see it as that they're holding the ace of their particular suit, which is about the potential. And the pages are all about the beginning and the potential, unlocking their potential. The pages are at the beginning stage of developing something. They're like the learners, they're apprentices. In the traditional court, pages would serve the knights. There's a ranking in the court where you'd have the king of ultimate authority. You'd have the queen, which would serve the king and be faithful to the king and support the king. So she'd be in a very supportive role of authority. Then the knights that fight and work for the queen and king, and then the pages would serve the knights, and often they would deliver messages for knights. So sometimes the pages can represent messages, news of something to do with that particular suit. So, like this is wands. This is someone that's very enthusiastic. The enthusiasm of youth, the motivated thing that they're very keen, but they're inexperienced, little naive, but they've got that enthusiasm. So um, so they're very motivated, but they're not as experienced. So they're having to learn, and they learn by experience. He's there examining it here and looking how he's very keen, very focused upon it, passionate, as I say, about what he wants to do, very keen, and it's got that youthful energy about it. Um, doesn't mean that it necessarily refers to just young people, although it can tend to, but anyone else that may have that youthful vitality, vibrancy about them, that has that sense of fun, of passion for something and being motivated. And it could be news regarding something like that, news, an opportunity, a new opportunity to of something that inspires them. Um, but they they need perhaps a little bit of guidance on how to follow through with that enthusiasm. And the page of swords is equally someone that wants to gain knowledge, but wants to do it through experiencing something, using the mind um, in a very practical way. Um, but the page again is a little bit immature, a little bit uncertain about what to do. He's got all these uh, thoughts and things and ideas going around him, and he can get a little bit confused, getting a little bit distracted. I mean, he's got the sword here, but he's looking away from the sword. He's distracted by something else. So, like somebody of that nature, we all know that teenagers and everything, the youthful mind can, you know, short attention spans, and this particularly in the page of swords is um, very easily distracted. But he's got that many ideas, but he's yet to learn how to uh, uh, focus on those ideas. The Page of Pentacles, likewise, he wants to manifest something. He wants to, perhaps this could be also again with the messages. This could be a message. He could be bringing a message in a reading about a new opportunity for some new income, a new career opportunity. Um, so it could be that. It could be unlocking his own potential in a practical way, but he's not quite sure about. It's that uncertainty. It's that initial sort of on the bottom rung of the ladder kind of thing, the apprentice sort of stage that the page represents. So if you get a page or pages of the reading, it's all about that early stage, the beginning stage, unlocking the potential, and through the personality of that particular card, of being interested in practical details of things, and bringing something into reality, maybe making something. Maybe he wants to be a craftsman, but he hasn't yet developed in full his skill in order to do that. So that's another example of page. And we have the Page of Cups, who is more into feelings, ideas, imagination, intuitiveness. But again, he may be inexperienced on how to work with his emotions. He may be getting too emotional, or he may be too romantically minded, seeing things through rose tinted glasses. He needs that bit of guidance. But the potential, maybe news of a new relationship, or something like that, that's coming as well, bringing the news element into it, the message. So if you have a page in a reading, that's and the cards that it's near in particular, or referring to, connecting with, then that's the kind of energy that's coming at it. It's coming at it from perhaps a youthful, but possibly naive kind of approach dealing with the situation. It's the beginning stage of what the reading is about, and maybe the way that the situation has been handled by either yourself or other people in the situation is in a haphazard sort of, not experienced, sort of a naive way. um, Maybe needs a little bit more guidance, outside guidance, to show the way, because the ability to deal with that particular situation is not yet fully developed. So they may be feeling a bit out of their depth. Pages can be feeling very much out of their own depth of how to deal with a situation. Then we have the Knights, which are together the fire, you like, of each suit, the fiery nature, the fire. Knight of Swords would be the fire of air, so it'd be those two elements together. So the knight being very much putting ideas into action, being motivated, determined, um, following through, putting plans into action, seeing things through, um, carrying them out, maybe a little, and it's getting things done, putting the ideas into practice without any delay. Very fast energy. You can tell where the horse is moving, and the knights tend to wear armor, so they're prepared for any challenges that they may face. Excuse me. And it's that active, fiery energy, and this is to do with the intellect, putting those ideas into action. Here we have the Knight of Wands, which is the fire of fire. So that's the most fiery element of the is the Knight of Wands, who's very motivated, very passionate, working towards a goal, putting his passion into practice. He's following the dream. He's motivated by that fire. He can be a bit impulsive. Um, that fiery, very fiery, impulsive element, but he will charge ahead again. A very active. Um, he again prepared by being dressed in the armor, prepared for any challenges that he may face. But again, it's that active energy that the knights represent. So the Knight of Cups is often the one that whose goes at a more steadier pace. Is more into the realm of the emotions. He's the fire of water, but the water sort of quenches a bit that fiery energy, so he's not as impulsive. He will steadily move forward in search of what he feels, the will fulfill that emotional need, that relationship. He's got that romantic nature, can be a bit of a dreamer, seeing things through rose-tinted glasses, but he's still active in his pursuit of his emotional fulfillment. But he may take his time a little bit more than the other knights. So it's that kind of energy or personality that's represented by the Knight of Cups. And then finally, of course, we have the Knight of Pentacles, which is the fire of earth. So you've got those two elements together. And here we have another, the horse is definitely more stationary than the other horses. So he's one that takes his time to look at the details before moving. He's the more cautious. He thinks before he acts, and he wants to know all the practicalities or all the practical details of something before he takes action. And sometimes that can go to a bit of a detriment, because sometimes he can over analyze that, and it can prevent him from moving forward, because he wants to go that much into detail, and before acting, that it it means that it delays the action even more. And next we have the Queens, which is the water element. The Queens are of the water element. And if we have the Queen of Cups, she is the water of water. She's the embodiment of the nurturing aspect of the cups, of the Queens as well. She's in touch with her feelings. She's very much of the caring, nurturing embodiment that the Queen energy represents. I mean, she's very close to the water there. She's very in touch with her emotions. And hi, my arts journey. Yeah, I think a few people have not got notified. I did share it in the group though, that it was on with the link. So hi, Hexen, good to see you. So it's okay. It's okay, Hexen. And so the Queen of Cups is as I said, water of water. So it's a very emotional part of the court cards. So, but even then, the Queen of Cups, if you look here, the cup is not an open cup like some of the cups. There's a lid on it. So it may be that she is in touch with her emotions, but she may put a bit of a lid on her emotions too. She may hide some of her emotions. Maybe there's been some sensitivity, that kind of personality that's involved in the situation the reading's about. Of course, this is the symbolism of the traditional Rider-Waite. You may not get this exact symbolism in other decks that are based on the Rider-Waite. So, but this just gives you a clue. These just gives you a clue to the nature of each particular court card. So here we have the Queen of Swords, which is again the queens of the associated with the water element, and swords is obviously air. So it's like water of air. This is mixing emotions with the intellect. And are all the queens doubles of their elements? No. Just to quickly recap. Yes, all the queens. You've got the different like rankings. You've got the pages, the knights, the queens, and the kings. Okay, and all pages tend to be associated with the element of earth. That's all pages. Okay. Then the page of Pentacles is also earth. So if you have the page of Pentacles, it's earth of earth because it's a page, so it's earth, and it's of the suit of earth, Pentacles, so it's earth of earth. But the page of Cups is water, so it would be earth of water. So those two elements together. You see what I mean? So all the pages are earth, but then you've got the elements of the individual suits as well, combined with that. And then the knights are fire with the associations that I follow. Sometimes I think there is some that associate knights with air and kings with fire, but I don't. The knights of fire, the active energy. Okay, so all the knights of the fire element, because that's the ranking, that's the fiery energy, and then expressed with the element of the suit. So you'll have like the Knight of Wands would be the fire of fire, so very much the fiery energy. The fiery energy expressed through fire and with fire. Whereas then the Knight of Swords would be the fire of air. So the fiery energy expressed through the intellect, through the air element. So that combination together, and then the queens are water, and then their suits, and the kings of fire. Air of all their suits. So, and we're on the queens. We just talked about the Queen of Cups being water of water because it's a queen, so it's water. Yeah, kings are air. That's right. The intellectual, the strategy, the mastery, the in charge. So that's why they're air. You've got the pages. I said the pages are earth, and you can see why that they're the earth, because they're like literally at the ground level. The pages are at the beginning, and they're unlocking and I said about the pages holding the representation of the suit. It's like they're taking hold of the ace of the suit, the potential, the seed of the suit. And the pages take hold of that, but they haven't yet unlocked potential. So pages represent people of unfulfilled potential. That's why it's that youthful, inexperienced energy, because they haven't yet fulfilled their potential. They're at the beginning stage of unlocking their potential. That's the pages. So they are wanting to, and they're earth because um, they want to experience things and learn things in a tangible way, in a basic, practical way, because they're at the beginning way. It's taking hold of the seed of their experience and helping it to grow, which is the earth. So that's why I feel that pages of the earth and the knights are the active, the fiery, the passionate, the the burning passion, the motivation. That's fits with the knights, and then of course the queens of the nurturing kind, the development kind, which is more of an emotional, caring sort of level of things. All the queens, so that's why they're associated with water, and the kings are like in charge and direct things and give orders and communicate the way that they want things to be done. So that's very much of the king energy. So that's why they're air. So that's just a recap for those that are just joining of what I've been gradually going through. So, and we were on to the queens, and we were on to we've just talked about the queen of cups, which is the water of water. So she, out of the queens, she is the most representation of the queen energy, because she's fully all about water. You know, she's fully about emotion, about caring, about nurturing. Um, the pages are at the conception stage of an idea as well, right? If you're taking the development of an idea of a situation, they're at the beginning stage. They're the ones that take the beginning. The knights then run with that idea and start to put it into action. Okay, and then but often the queen, the knights often move on to other things. They're easily, you know, they're impulsive. They'll charge ahead, and then they'll move on to the next mission. They'll move on to the next thing. Whereas the queen will take what the knights have achieved and help to develop and sustain it. The queens are the developers, the sustainers, the nurturers of whatever's going on, and expressed through their, you know, people with that kind of personality. So if you get queen or a few queens, yeah, she's the one that goes mostly by emotion, by intuition, by nurturing. She's very much wants to be, but sometimes that can make her. There's drawbacks to that, because um, being of that nature, she can a tendency to be sensitive, which is why in this card there may be a lid on the cup, because she may have to protect her emotions a little, because she's more vulnerable to being being oversensitive, because she is very much driven by emotion. Um, and we know people like that are driven by their emotions, in touch with motivated by them. They're very loving, caring people, but may um, be sensitive to situations, and may need to protect themselves a little. So we all know people that could be, and that would be a Queen of Cups person, or the energy that's being used to deal with the situation. Because I said at the beginning, if it's not a person, it's the way that the approach, the personalized approach to a situation, represented by other cards in the reading. So then we have the Queen of Swords, which is very much the water of air. She is one where, to me, that it's not that she's not so much motivated by her emotions. She's emotionally aware, and it's not that she doesn't care, but she's not touchy feely with it. She's more mentally, intellectually involved, and she communicates what needs to be done. She's not afraid of speaking the truth. So, in order to sustain and to take care of things, you know, that nurturing aspect is still expressed in that way. Um, but she's not doing it in the touchy-feely sort of way that the Queen of Cups may have done, if you see what I mean. So it's not that she doesn't care, but the way she expresses her care and the protective nature is through her mind, through the ideas, through truth, through stating things as they are, and it can come across a little bit distant because she pushes her emotions down a bit and is more to cold hard facts and truths, but she can cut through the nonsense. So she's a useful person to have when when we need to hear some hard truths. You know, she can speak the truth in love because she's water, but she's air, and she can speak the truth and speak the truth from love, but she'll speak the truth. And sometimes that can, if you take into an extreme, that can sometimes be taken as being she's a little bit too cutting with her words, but she will cut through the nonsense. She won't stand for no nonsense. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles, which is to me the Queen of Pentacles is water of earth. So she's caring, but she's also practically minded, materially minded. So to me, the Queen of Cups is someone that's a good homemaker. Okay, and as I said before, this could also apply. The queens can also apply both to men and women. Right, just because it's represented as a queen, as a woman in the card, the energy, the personality can be expressed through a man or a woman. Right, so traditionally, yes, it's a woman that tends to be represented by this card, or someone with those supposed feminine attributes, those feminine energy qualities. So this is someone that's very nurturing, welcoming, warm, and wants to provide a good physical environment, a secure environment for those under her care. So again, under her care, so she will physically, she will sustain people, she will help to sustain something through emotional support and material support, practical resources, as well as through her emotional care. Okay, so she's got that element to it. And then, of course, we have the water of fire, very two opposite sounding elements. And she's someone that, again, has that inspirational, caring, warm personality that can help to nurture, inspire, to motivate others, to nurture their potential and help people to develop, to fulfill their life purpose. She she's there with the. It's about she's very expressive in her personality, so it's a very bold, confident, expressive energy in that's nurturing and caring for whatever situation. She takes, again, the Queen's take from what the Knights have achieved, and she helps to nurture and develop it. So she's very much taking things to the next stage and bringing that passion, as well as the love and the care and the comfort. She will also motivate and inspire. She will, when the way that she develops herself and other people is in a more active way. It's a motivation to follow their purpose, to take action, and to unlock their potential, and she helps them to do that. So that kind of person would be the Queen of Wands. And then, of course, we then have the Kings, which is the air, very much the pinnacle of things, very much those that are to me, the key words are established, mature, developed, fulfilled, and direct the energy of their suit. Whereas the queens nurture and develop the energy, they have mastered it and direct the energy. So, and they do that through the sort of the element of air, which is very much of the mind, of their decisions. They're the ones that make good decision makers. They're the ones that give out the instructions, the details of how to direct that energy of that particular suit. They're very much the boss and the established. Everything has come to fulfillment. They're the ones that have established the, the the suit in its fullness and embody the suit in its completeness. So we'll start with the King of Swords because that's the air of air. This is someone that is very much intellectually minded, uh, with the facts, with the truth, with ideas, but he's mastered his thinking. He's a master of the mind. He's a mastermind. He's in charge. He will explain his ideas clearly. He's a good communicator, and will be very good at how he phrases his communication. So this would be someone that has reached a maturity in development, and finds that he's able to be diplomatic with his words because he's mastered these words, his communication. So any diplomatic situation, diplomacy that's needed, if that appears in a reading, you've got someone either that is going to be bringing a bit of diplomacy to the situation that the reading's about. It could be how you should approach the situation with the diplomacy of the king of swords. It's that approach. Okay, so but he's very much um, of the mindset, and like you can tell that his head is above the clouds. The clouds are below him. So he has gone, the clouds have gone. He's not clouded by anything, any confusion. He's clear-minded. He knows, he can see things clearly. He knows what the situation is, and he knows what needs to be done, and he will communicate that and in his instruction. Just to compare that, the knight there is still very much in the clouds are more around him. So he's charging ahead, but he probably hasn't got the clarity that he needs. And that can be a danger that he may, because he hasn't got the full clarity yet. Whereas the king is above the clouds, so he sees clearly, he understands, and he knows what needs to be done. Which shall we do next? We've got the King of Wands, which is the air of fire, the air and fire elements joining together. He's directing the fiery element, the motivational element, from his words, communication. So he tends to be inspirational. He intends with his words. He will have his purpose fulfilled by issuing like direction but giving inspiring speeches. He's good at inspiring people. He's charismatic. People that are warm, charismatic, that inspire people, that people are drawn to and will follow. A born leader that is confident and exudes confidence, and people warm to that and latch on to that. So yes, definitely. This is more or less like somebody that's like a motivational speaker as well, the King of Wands. So we see these motivational speakers that try and motivate you to be positive and to achieve your goals and everything, but sometimes perhaps take it to an extreme. But that's very much the King of Wands energy. Somebody that will lead the way, that will show the way, that will inspire you on, that will give you if you're listening to somebody and you're inspired to act upon it and to do something after listening to somebody, you've probably listened to a King of Wands energy being expressed. And we have the King of Pentacles, which is the air of earth. This is someone that's very practically minded, materially minded. So he's also someone that's established in his practical growth, physicality, material resources, and he's got that. He's planned for the long term, for his long term well-being. He likes to the finer things in life. He likes to be surrounded by good things, and he provides those things for himself, uh, as well as those under his care he's that are dependent upon him. He's very much um, someone that's very perhaps a good businessman, someone that's very good with finance, someone that is a good entrepreneur that can build his wealth, but he could also be seen as somebody hopefully that's more humanitarian in the sense he will share his wealth, um, unless he goes to the darker side of his personality, where he just wants to he wants to amass his focus in his mind, his in plans are all about amassing wealth. So it could be someone that turns to greed and is all about material things and not much else. That's an extreme, that's a dark side to it. But the more positive aspects of it is someone that will build for the future, that will gradually build what he wants to establish a good, um, prosperous, abundant lifestyle that supports what he loves and will support those in his care. So he's dependable, he's responsible, and he you can depend on him, um, providing you with what you need. And lastly, of course, we have the King of Cups, which is somebody that it is the air of water, and he knows how to navigate his emotions or emotional situations that are around him. His background is yellow versus um, the other kings that had clouds and blue skies. Any different? Um, I think that's just the warmth of being in a comfortable scenario. He's probably got warmth there, and he's more practically minded. He's down to very literally down to earth. So there wouldn't be any clouds because he's at the down to earth level below the clouds. Okay, he's he's perhaps uh, he's more grounded, so he's not up in the clouds. He's the least one that's in his mind, even though he's of the air element and the intellectual element. His mind is more focused on the here and now, on the physical, on the down to earth practical approach. He's not about lofty ideas and thoughts. He's on about just what's important to him and those, they say, his family and people under his care. Uh, so maybe there are no clouds here because this is like in the warm glow of his luxury and his affluence, uh, at the very down to earth level. That'd be my understanding of it. Back to the King of Cups. He's very much uh, secure within his emotions, and and he knows how to navigate. He's got the understanding and the knowledge that about his emotions and the emotions of the situation around him, so he can develop strategies to be able to keep himself calm and secure and in control. He's mastered his emotions. He's developed his concepts and ideas as to how and strategies to how to deal with his emotions and keep them from getting out of hand. And even if around him the sea gets choppy and emotional, he can stay secure and calm and steady because he's learnt that. He's learnt that emotional stability uh, uh, that uh, that he needs to be able to navigate the different situations that again may be represented in the reading. And as I said at the beginning, the court cards should all be taken as representing the personality, the energy represented either through expression of circumstance. It's how it's how the different ways in which people could deal with the situation described by the reading, um, with the other cards in the reading. Whatever the context, the subject matter of the reading, the court cards are how the approaches to dealing with that situation. So we could all be faced with the exact same situation, but each one of us would probably approach that situation from in a different way, because we've all got different personalities, different energies, different understandings, different levels of experience with that situation. I mean, with with a relationship issue, um, some of us may be pages, not very experienced with emotional issues or relationship issues. Um, so we may be coming at it with a page energy to a situation. Somebody else may react to that situation that's a little bit more experienced and knows how to perhaps uh, bring a bit of calmness to the situation, and could be a king or queen to help nurture the situation with a more nurturing approach, that will be a little bit more able to deal with it than perhaps a page would. So, but equally, in a different situation like a career setting, we may be very career minded, and we may be very much a knight or a king or a queen. We've gone beyond the page. We're not so inexperienced as that. So in a career reading, or a situation that's it may be requiring of some higher energy than that of the page. So uh, at different stages with different situations, we can be a number of these cards depending what our experience with the subject matter and the situation is. So we can be a page in one situation, but a knight or a queen or a king in another situation, as I just said. So to me, it's how the energy is personalized in the approach to a situation that is revealed by the other cards in a spread, and how uh, the personalities are affected and interact with that is what the court cards are all about. So if we see it in that way, then maybe some of the mystery, some of the confusion, um, of of how we use the court cards in the reading, begins to sort of melt away. Um, this is just one way of looking at court cards. Um, there's been various books written about how to understand the court cards, different ways of interpreting it, how to view them. Uh, this is the way that I tend to follow when reading, because it makes sense to me. The elemental combinations, the different development stages. I like the pages are like the apprentices, the learners, the ones that have got the keenness but not the experience. Sometimes a little bit out of their depth, but they want to learn more. And then you have the knights that were more active, putting more action minded than ideas. They want to be doing, things very, very, that kind of focus. And then the queens are more nurturing, developing and sustaining of an energy, how they deal with a situation. And of course, then you have the kings, which are the solid, stable, the mastery, the directors, the ones in charge, the ones that can direct that energy in a practical, effective way. Um, so you've got those different stages and the different personalities of each of those stages that I've described. So hopefully, hopefully, that has reduced some of the mysticism or confusion about how we use the court cards. One way that we can perceive the court cards and apply them in a reading. So I hope that's been useful. And if anybody's got any questions, something that still want a bit of clarification on, now's the time. But I'm glad it's starting to make sense to some of you. It seems to have made sense to some of you. That's brilliant. That's excellent. Then this has been useful. And hi, Leanne. So yes, I mean the reason as I say, the reason I decided to do this tonight is one, because as I say that Jen's not very well, along with Peter. They're trying to recuperate and get well again, and we can send them some healing energy. And there seems to be, a bit of sickness going around. I've got a bit of sinus trouble, but I'm pushing through. I'm okay. I'm not as bad as what some people are. And recently, I realised I was getting a little bit rusty on the court cards, so I felt I could do a bit of a refresher course. So, and that's the thing with these court cards, that sometimes you will find is that there's a point where you think you've got it nailed. You think you've got it down. You understand them, and you're confident, and then it started to become elusive again, and you think, actually, I thought I'd got that, but how does that work again? Yes, allergy season. Yeah, because I do suffer from hay fever, and we're approaching that. We've got tree pollen at the moment, and then the flowers start doing theirs soon, and but there we go. It means the wheel. It means the wheel of the year is moving on. We're getting into allergy season, so at least that's confirmation of that. We can look at it that way. So that's why I decided that I would pop on once again to fill in, so that we could have a Tarot Tuesday again. And I thought that if I'm going to do a refresher course, why not share that with the rest of you? So that, because I'm sure, well, I know I'm not the only one that sometimes thinks, now how do we interpret the Queen of Wands again, or how do we interpret the pages, or whatever? So there we go. So that's the Tarot Tuesday Takeover episode 3. In the trilogy. Those darn court cards. So if nobody's got any questions, I will thank you all for joining me. We've been on just over an hour. And for those that missed the beginning, I tried to do a recap. You're quite welcome to go back and rewatch anything that you've missed. And I'm glad that it's been of use to some of you. And of course, those that couldn't be here are free to watch it on the Mama Squirrel's Wise Nuts admin channel, and can watch it again. So hopefully, the next time we have Tarot Tuesday, it won't be me taking over again, because I don't want to take over Tarot Tuesday. Um, so this is Jen's baby, and we want to see Jen again, fully recovered, in good form, doing Tarot Tuesday. So let's get that healing energy out there, so that we can have normal service resumed. But of course, I'm always willing to step in and help out when necessary. So thank you for joining me, and I'm sure at some point, in some form or other, I will see you soon. Okay then. Bye bye.